Hello, everybody. My name is Dude BDR, and welcome back to another Tech Talks. Today, we're going to talk about science fiction things that have become science reality. We're going to chat a little bit about different ones, but I'm going to focus on a couple, two or three of them in particular. That's going to be the meat of our conversation because I find them to be the most interesting ones that have become real. You'll notice my rose if you're watching the YouTube version of this. If you're listening to the podcast version, then ignore me for the next 30 seconds or so. But I've got a rose up here. My daughter brought it home to me. She went to visit her Nana, who passed away last week. Today was supposed to be Nana's birthday. They went to her gravesite and put down some special painted rocks, and then she brought me back one of the roses, and she wanted me to wear it. So here it is. But yeah, we're going to talk about some fun science fiction gadgets or gizmos or just like, tech items that have actually come into existence. I'm going to have with me today Redneck Alcatraz and DemonBynx. Believe Binx is settling out some of his tech issues. Or no, actually seems like he's here. I guess I could stand to turn on the non-video participants, right? So I can see who all's here.
Yep, he's here. I'm the one with tech issues, as
Yeah.
for some reason my camera's not loading.
And Redneck's camera isn't loading. But
Yeah.
I guess I will
troubleshooting
get
that.
us started. Actually, first of all, Zach, what do you know about sci-fi tech that has become real? Maybe you found or know of something that I don't. Well, just kidding. Might be having
There we
mic
go. Got
issues. What about you, Redneck? We'll start with you. See if Zach gets his mic sorted.
Well, one, we've discussed this previously, but in Star Wars, you know how they got the lightsabers and all that.
Oh yeah.
Well, Hacksmith
Yep.
came up with the
I,
prototype version, the Protosaber.
Yeah.
Which is
And it
rather nuts.
actually it is plasma based too, which
Yeah, it's a
I
plasma-based sword. Now, it's not very durable or quote-unquote combat capable, but
yeah, like you move it too
we're
fast
already
and it'll.
we're already stepping in the right direction.
Yeah, it's not like it's a rigid blade of plasmic light.
We don't quite have the tech for that yet, but we're getting there.
Actually, I made sure to leave that particular subject out of today's trivia because I know we all spoke of it last week.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, there's some obvious ones that have popped up that I don't
Right.
know if they're on your list or not. Like the communicators from Star Trek are
Right, yeah,
basically
yeah.
the cell phones we now all have.
Mhm,
Star Wars, this didn't get really featured in the movies as much, but it was in the books, which was the data pad, which is essentially a tablet.
It was called PAD, P-A-D-D.
Well, that's from Star Trek.
That's Star Trek.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
you said
talking about the
Star
data
Wars.
pads from
In
from
Star Wars, it
Wars.
was
Yeah.
data pad. But yes, you are
Forgive
correct.
me. I stand corrected.
But yeah, what
Yep,
about
they
you,
both
Zach?
had
What do you know of?
Well, I know of quite a few things. The things that are sticking on the top of my mind, though, are the trivia questions, so I'm trying to parse those out.
No, go
No,
right on ahead.
one
Go
of
right
the-
on ahead.
One of the things that I did leave out, though, that I found particularly wonderful is the U.S. Navy is currently utilizing laser technology for their weapons,
As well as railguns.
as well as railguns. They are a little bit less expensive than our railguns that are stuck on our battleships right now, but they're pretty cool. They're inspired by the Spartan laser from Halo. And sure enough, at about 5 to 30 miles away, a battleship can zap a drone out of the air with a laser and melt it while it flies.
Yep. Did you know there's two?
Neat.
They've actually been working on that tech for about, at this point now, about 30, 40 years. There was actually, if I remember correctly, there was a research project literally called Star Wars that the DoD ran for the purpose of creating and developing advanced tech. One of them was laser-based weaponry.
Well, let me tell you,
Um,
I have a list here of 31 items. I'm going to focus mainly on 3 of them, but I will
Let's see what's
mention
not on the list.
everything on the list. The first thing that made the list, actually, is the Pretty in Pink computer. Do you know the scene I'm talking about? Molly Ringwald sitting in a library on a computer and got a
instant
message.
messaging.
Yep.
Yeah, instant messaging.
Got
and it was
IMs.
really displayed as an ominous thing for that movie.
Well, yes. And then, like, it kind of, like, shows some of the dangers that are real today, where you could be talking with a complete stranger and they know a lot about you. They know everything about you. They could show you a picture of your house or yourself or your family members, or they could
Stalker much?
right? They could dox the hell out of you, you know? So, I mean, that's a kind of like a real threat that you see in it, but it's a real thing now. And it's even progressed past instant messaging, where it's really, when we got it now, DMs here on Discord. I could message either one of these two guys right now. I could be messaging both of them, you know, just back and forth, bam, 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 all we want.
It'd be instant.
Message boards all over the internet.
Drop dude over here a link, a message says, "I know where you live."
Yeah.
And send him his own address.
Yeah, because I gave it out last week.
With a picture of him in his room.
Yeah.
Well, no, because
2
I
weeks
really
ago.
haven't sent you stuff.
Oh yeah, that too. I guess technically I have your address too. Then it's on something somewhere.
Yeah, should have it somewhere. You've got my full name. Not that it means much.
Right. It's a very, very, very common name.
Right.
Number 2 on the list, the Star Trek replicator, being 3D printers.
Got one in the other room.
We have 3D printers now. We already talked about the Star Trek pad, the iPad, or any kind of really just tablet. A lot of stuff on here from Star Trek too. Number 4, Star Trek virtual display device, being Google Glass.
Yep, Google Glass was actually the first one to do it, and I'm surprised they scrapped it because it was such a revolutionary thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that one's not true virtual reality. That's actually augmented reality because it overlaps with actual things.
Yeah, that was
virtual
real-time
completely
scanning.
replaces.
Absolutely.
Now, the first thing that I want to really,
I think it was too ahead of its time was the problem than the issue with it.
I agree. People weren't
there
ready.
we go. Now, the first thing that I really want to stop on is a thing called the Scanadu Scout. It's the Star Trek Tricoder.
Oh, I thought it allowed you to see if people had over 9,000 power level.
Or Scouter, yeah. No, the Scanadu Scout was a medical scanner.
Yeah, I've heard things about this one recently.
It hit the market at $200. You could get one. Okay, let me read you a little bit about this thing. When Walter de Brouwer's young son suffered a severe brain injury, the Belgian entrepreneur spent nearly a year in the hospital watching over his child's recovery. The Star Trek fan was inspired to create something like the show's Tricoder, a simple mobile device that could assess the same vital signs nurses checked each day on his son. That's when he came up with the Scout, a tiny device filled with sensors that scan the body for health information. De Brouwer's company, Scanadu, raised a record-setting $1.66 million during the 2013 Indiegogo campaign and recently began shipping the Scout to its over 8,500 backers. Simply touch the device to your forehead for a few seconds, and almost instantly it sends physiological parameters, blood pressure, heart rate, temperature, SpO2, or blood oxygen levels, to an app on your phone, like an iPhone or Android. The app logs these measurements and alerts users to anomalies and deviations that may be related to health concerns, Read on to see if the whole experience is less painful than a doctor's visit. And then it goes on to
Actually,
describe, like, like, if I'll show here, you get your phone, and like this one, I have a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus 5G. I can get on the Samsung Health app, and I can do this thing. I'll put my finger right here, and it'll check my stress level. It'll check my heart rate, my blood pressure, and all that just by touching my finger to it. This thing works under the same vein where you would, pop to your forehead, beep, and almost instantly it's reading and it's sending, and you can look at it on your phone just like with Samsung Health, and you can look on there and see, oh man, I got high blood pressure right now. Maybe I should,
Chill out.
de-stress, do something about this. And I think that's a pretty cool invention. Like, honestly, I think that's something that we need in the world. Something that can quickly tell you what your vital signs are, especially if you're somebody with health issues. Having something like this, where, like, if you're constantly on the lookout for signs that you might need to go see your doctor, you can boop real quick, be like, oh man, yeah, okay, I should call the nurse real quick, see what's going on.
It's also an efficient way, because if it scans all that data, and then if you can send that data to the doctor can then analyze that data without ever having to actually go there.
Yeah.
I mean, it saves time in that regard, but that's going to be something the doctor's got to integrate. The other thing is, like, if this thing only has a price tag of like $200, maybe $300, that's affordable for a lot of people.
Yeah, the original version of it, as far as I can tell, the Scanadu, starts at $199.
It's really impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
And Zach, you were going to mention something?
Yeah.
Little
I was just
Pixie
gonna
dude?
say the Scout monitors. I used to run a. Oh, what? Hello. Yes.
Yes, you.
Yes, that's me. Hi, I'm Binks. Hello. Yes. I was like, what are we pointing at?
You.
No, I used to work as a courier, and I used to deliver these Scout monitors. And
Nice.
indeed, they did prevent people from having to go to the hospital quite often.
Nice.
To specify, the people that I went and saw were people that didn't have the ability to move themselves to the hospital off and on. So it was just something that I could take to them. Therefore, they could monitor their own situation, and most of those people would have like a nurse or somebody that would come to their house, and that really alleviated any need whatsoever for them to go to the hospital.
Also, if the nurse does have to come out, they at least can be gotten the data of what's going on.
Exactly.
So
Right.
that on its own is incredibly useful. Although I did think of one that I'm not sure what the origin of it was, but it's probably on Dude's list. We'll find out.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
trying to silently edit all of my trivia questions from later on because we're, not talking about them now.
All right.
Unless Dude brings it up.
Moving on
screwed.
to number 6, Star Trek communicator phones, namely flip phones. Flip phones. Because the thing was a flip open device.
Yep.
Number 7, Ender's Game anti-gravity battle room. Indoor skydiving. Those little air tunnels. You've seen
Yep.
those? I've seen people do some
Yep.
like insane tricks inside of them.
Not quite the same, but really damn close. Yeah.
I mean, we can't really come up with anything anti-gravity just yet.
Well,
like truly anti-gravity.
We have something close. It's very expensive to do, and it's actually a method they use for training some of the astronauts. And that is they use a specially modified. It's either a passenger liner or it's a cargo plane.
Mhm.
You go up at the upper atmosphere, and I forget the exact maneuver the plane does, but originally it was only spanned a few seconds, but now they're up to a few minutes. It simulates the exact same effects as having like
Zero G.
almost zero gravity.
Yeah, it's a series of shallow dives.
Yep. And originally they could only pull it off for a very short amount of time. Now it's minutes in length, so you can actually get the effects of like almost null gravity with just being in an airplane,
Next on the
which on
list
its load is impressive.
is the Star Wars speeder bike, which now we have hover bikes.
Yep.
Number 10, the Minority Report targeted advertising, face scanning market technology, where they literally have targeted advertising. As a matter of fact, on this
Somebody needs to
website that I'm
uninvent
on,
that.
because
They need to
I
uninvent
had
that.
looked at my my chair manufacturer earlier today and sent them a replacement request because let's see if it does it again. Yeah, see, it's not supposed to do that.
Oops.
Yeah, you're supposed to, with the lever. But it does it all on its own now. I found this out last night whenever I went to kind of readjust myself and I was leaning back and the chair just went.
It almost fell.
Yeah. For anybody listening to that, the back of my chair isn't working correctly. So I
Instead
had
of
looked
being
up my
locked in
chair's
like it's supposed to,
manufacturer.
It's the gears
Right.
are probably sheared off, so it just will
Exactly.
lean backward the moment you put weight on it.
And I had looked up my chair's manufacturer to send them a request for warranty service to either replace it or refund it. And because I did that, now I have advertisements on this website for gaming chairs.
Sorry to advertising.
So there.
It's
yeah.
a wonderful invention, and I hate it.
Oh yeah. Number 11. Looking backwards, the fucking credit cards, ATM and debit cards now, and we actually have credit cards. Like the concept that was thought up shortly after came into fruition, where people could control their money, use their money on a little plastic card. Fahrenheit 451 seashell radio, in-ear headphones.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In-ear headphones.
In your ear.
As a matter of fact, my wife's Raycons are going to shit, and come to find out, that's a very common issue with them, where one side or the other will start to just not work, and then eventually they both don't work, and then eventually they won't charge on their little charging box thing. So I'm getting her a new set for Christmas. Not Raycons though. Hashtag not sponsored. From the Earth to the Moon splashdown capsules, being the lunar reentry module.
Yep.
I say lunar, but
Amazing how that thing actually
reentry
freaking
module.
floats if you think
Yeah.
about it.
I said, yeah, from the Earth to the Moon, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and when you think about it, how it's coming back into the atmosphere, how they have it designed so that, if it were to start coming in at an odd angle, it rights itself so that the heat shield is,
Taking
protecting.
all of that heat.
And so,
Because if it comes in upside down, it disintegrates. It burns up.
I mean, think about that too, because strictly speaking, this is a very thin object. Because it needs to be light to be able to get up and break the atmosphere, and
I think the thermal
and
shield on things all
really
of an inch
thin.
thick.
yeah, and exactly, and then on re-entry, this very thin line of material is protecting these astronauts from these extreme heats that would just cook them.
I mean, it melts steel at that
Exactly.
temperature and friction.
I mean, it's burning red hot. You can watch it on re-entry. Like, I'm sure there's videos you could see of other re-entry pods that are coming in, and you can watch it as it's heating up and on fire and glowing red hot. And, and then they
Originally, I think it was like a type of thermal tile.
yeah.
So it was a lot thicker, but eventually the tech just advanced to it's like a much thinner film of material. I don't even know what
Rip
it's
Starlight.
called or made of. And now it's on the bottom of the space shuttle too.
Now,
So it's
the
reusable.
second thing I want to stop and look a little longer at is the Minority Report heads-up display, now being AirTouch technology. When I first saw this, I was like, we have that?
There's been experiments with it, yes.
You know, like Tony Stark has in the Avengers movies and all
Wait,
those Marvel
you
movies.
haven't seen
where
the
he's-
advertisement for it?
I've not, no.
I've
But I
seen them
look at
on, like,
this-
Instagram.
Right, and it's been
It's
around
actually really
since,
weird.
at the very least, 2014, as I can recall. But
Yeah.
I want to read y'all a little bit about how it works. I have it pulled up here, and I want to read a little bit how it works, and then we'll discuss that real quick. AirTouch technology, how it works. The key elements for this technology are special eyeglasses, an internal DDDR, defined distance with defined range, camera, and an AirTouch interface. When linked together, these components allow users to interact with a virtual input device that can be changed at any time, from a simple keyboard to a keyboard or a touch screen. The eyeglasses are required to actuate the keys on the virtual input device. They are equipped with miniature displays that can be seen with two eyes or just one eye. The glasses allow the users to see the surrounding environment while also displaying data, images, and input devices. The DDDR, the 3DR camera, is the most important part of the AirTouch technology and is designed to consume as little power as possible, which is a major challenge for wearable computing devices. The special phase-coded and color-coded lenses will only discern an object at a predetermined distance between 28 centimeters and 32 centimeters. This is why it's only possible to transmit a signal from the camera by detecting the presence of a fingertip within the input range. This also conserves power, with the signal shutting off if no fingertips are present. What a device.
That's not the one I know of.
No,
I know of a
this one
different
here, I tried to look for like the earliest renditions that I could find, and this one here specifically is from 2014.
The one that I'm thinking of, I've been seeing little advertisements for the last year or three.
Mhm.
And what it is, it's like a device you can hook up to like your phone,
Right.
and it projects using like a laser onto like your desk, like a keyboard.
Okay.
And then you use it like a keyboard, and it does as if you were typing stuff, but there's nothing physically there.
Right.
So I think it uses a combination of a proximity sensor
Mhm.
while understanding of like, okay, first laser hits at this distance, last laser hits at this distance. It then calculates the size of the keyboard, and then it detects your finger or whatever
Mhm.
when it breaks the lasers for the proximity sensor.
Mhm.
So then you're typing, and it goes, oh, I have a push at 5 inches, at 5.2 inches, and then blah blah blah, and it calculates.
And see
you
what
can write with
what
it.
I
type
find interesting about it is not only one, is it coded and mathematically precise for wearing on your head, because if you're wearing it on your head, you know, you're not sitting still the whole time. You might be doing all this, you know, looking back and forth, or, you know, sudden response to a noise off to your left or something, you know, and this thing has to adjust for all that, and it's staying in place relatively and able to compute with your fingertips in and out of range all the time. Not only that, but also being able to, in real time, or near real time, determine which of your fingers. If you're typing, you don't, you know, just quickly put your finger on the keyboard one at a time to type. No, you got your hands resting up there, and you're just going at it. So this device is able to not only determine what key you're pressing, but when you're pressing it, what order you're pressing it in, and if you are in fact pressing a key or not. Because, you know, you rest your fingers, you know, your index fingers are on F and J if you're typing, and your fingers are resting there. and not pressing anything, and this thing is going to know that. And so you start typing, then it's also going to know that you are in fact typing.
Yep. One, there's two ways you can do that: is a proximity sensor and a motion sensor.
Right.
Proximity says, "Oh, there's an object in this range." So, whether it's stationary or not wouldn't matter because it's detecting within that window of range of that 28 to 32 centimeters.
Right.
So it only has to pay attention to a 4 centimeter area,
Mhm.
and not everything around. So
And again,
one less thing
like,
to worry about.
I would assume that there would need to be some kind of gloves with touch sensors on it, so that kind of
necessarily.
like the tip of a stylus, how it's kind
If
of
it's
soft.
using a proximity and a motion, you don't have to have specialized equipment
I mean, well, how else would it know that you're actually pressing it, though?
because it's analyzing the motion within that proximity range. As long as it has analysis of the motion of fingers, which scientific data on that's existed for years.
Mm.
All you have to do is condense that into a database, and then every time it detects something, it references that and then processes.
All right, and then I want to read this other little section here on it. It says future possibilities. AirTouch technology, future possibilities. There are, of course, many possible applications with this type of technology. It is ideal for wearable computers because of its accuracy, versatility, privacy, and overall convenience. AirTouch creates new possibilities for wearable and mobile computing by freeing users from the distraction of locating and touching keys on a physical input device, resulting in hands-free computing and improving security over voice commands. That comment come from a man, Golden Tao, Deputy General Director for the Industrial Technology Research Institute of Electronics and Optoelectronics Research Laboratories. He also said, in addition to consumer applications, this new technology is suitable for medical applications such as endoscopic surgery, augmented reality technologies for gaming, and industrial applications that benefit from hands-free input.
Which, honestly, this tech, because you mentioned wearable computers, I don't know if you're aware, but the military, or at least the U.S. military, was already field testing a wearable computer for like some of their command and control guys for ground troops all the way back in 2007.
They use it with the Talos, don't they? Well, I
don't
shouldn't
know
have said
exactly.
that. The Talos is actually on this list. So
I don't know which systems they use it with exactly, but I know it is literally a wearable computer that does not use a keyboard.
Okay.
It literally doesn't have a keyboard. It's just you're wearing the stuff. You have a heads-up display that shows you the shit,
Mhm.
and then you've got like a few controls like that you have that you can essentially use like a little joystick for a mouse, and then there's a clicker so that you can just click and do things. Which that combined with the hands-free thing, with that helmet, we could start seeing stuff really out of sci-fi soon.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I would like to mention the helmets that are being used in current Blackhawks and F-15 fighters.
Or the Apache.
Yeah, for example, you know those helmets cost about $17 million a piece?
Yeah.
I mean, these things are designed so that whenever you look right, your entire ship is looking right. Guns 1 through 5 are looking right. You know, the flaps are ready for you to yoink backward or push forward. It's crazy.
Yep, and the Apache attack helicopter, the gunner, that main Gatling gun that's mounted on that thing, when he moves his head, it auto tracks wherever he's looking.
Exactly.
And he's got a little reticle piece on his eye, similar to that you saw in Halo with the Marines.
Mhm.
That little lens over. That's where they got that from, was those guys. So that was reality made sci-fi. But yeah, it auto tracks wherever they're looking.
How you do, man? It's how you do.
It's like, oh, there's something on the right. Look over there.
But all right, we'll move on along in the list. 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas, electric submarine. We now have diesel electric submarines.
Hold up. We've had diesel electric subs since 1910.
We've had diesel, not diesel electric.
No, we had some of the electric because some of the World War I subs were running electric batteries so they could submerge for a while. They couldn't stay under very long, but yes. I'd have to double check the exact dates on that because I know in the 40s, the 30s and 40s, diesel electric, yes, that was standard for all submarines. I think there were submarines used in World War One, and I believe they were running some sort of electric battery system right then as well, so they could actually submerge.
See, they had all electric motors for submarines. The submarine called Nautilus, built in 1886 by two Englishmen, was an all-electric craft. 100 cell storage battery, achieved surface speed of 6 knots.
Yeah, it was not very fast.
Yeah, it wasn't a diesel electric.
No, you got to go forward in time to the ones the military was the navies were fielding in World War One.
I believe the World War One was called the TekTox, or at least
depends on.
Let's see. I believe the first ones to do it were the Germans, according to this. 315-foot long, 2 large cargo compartments. 700 tons of cargo, 12-13 knot speeds on the surface at 7 knots submerged. The Deutschland itself became the U-155 when fitted with torpedo tubes and deck guns. That's in World War One. I guess that's the first one, at least that they mention on here, that was diesel electric.
Yeah, so they had them pretty early. Now, I don't know when 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea actually came out. I don't know when that one actually came out versus when...
Well, the original... You talking about the story or the movie? Because...
The movie, I believe, came out after the subs actually existed. The original story predated that, I believe.
Let me see the origin of it. Oh yeah, 1869.
Oh. Okay, then
So
I know the
1828
inspiration for that one. Wait,
Yeah.
1828?
Oh no, never mind. That's the artist's birth date, February 1828. Yeah. 1869 was when the story came out. Cool.
Okay, so then I can actually tell you that there is actually a reference to that was based in reality.
Mm-hmm.
The original, some of the predecessor to the submarines were actually fielded in the American Civil War. They were mostly submerged vessels that the only top part remaining was a deck that was about an inch or two above water, a kind of command tower, and a cannon turret.
That was
the entire rest of the ship
old
submerged.
Ironhides, wasn't it?
The ironclads, yes.
Yeah.
And both factions, the Confederacy and the Union, both fielded versions of these. Different designs, but yes, they did.
Interesting.
Which,
Now you know.
Submerged. It just never came back up.
It went submerged. It's got the longest record for submarine submerged. No. Number 15 on the list, in the year 2889 movie, atmospheric advertising, now known as skywriting. Planes that are able to do skywriting.
Yeah.
Kinda. The War of the Worlds heat ray, the active denial system, the ADS. As I'm sure pretty much anybody here over the age of 16 knows.
Was it Binks?
You're goddamn right it was.
as I'm sure anybody listening over the age of 16 would know, that actually has studied anything in world history about Israel. they use a version of the ADS. They use it in what is called the Iron Dome
Yep.
to intercept incoming missiles and things like that. I think this is actually one of the coolest, if not the coolest, on this list.
Well, the funniest thing is that actually doesn't do any damage to people. The ADS actually doesn't do any damage to people. It just makes them feel like they're on fire. It gives you the illusion that to your mind that you're burning up and you're pretty much on fire.
Well,
But it doesn't actually do it to you.
it literally does though move microwaves, and
Yeah.
it does it so that it's felt under the skin, so that the body feels
Yes.
as though it's on fire. Which
But
is
it's
kind
not
of
at an
insane.
actual.
Yeah,
It's not at a
real
level that actually
damage.
does anything to you.
Yeah, it just is meant to be uncomfortable. And
It
it's
agitates
insane
the
that-
nerves.
I mean,
how-
it's
how-
it's supposed to be a non-lethal weapon.
Yeah.
System.
This one actually would fall under a true non-lethal
Right.
category. Although, granted, with most things that can be modified.
Right. And if you want to know more about it, the Joint Intermediate Force Capabilities Office, U.S. Department of Defense Non-Lethal Weapons Program, actually has an FAQ about this on their website.
Oh, data on it's been out for a couple years now.
So, like, if you wanted to know more about it, I will link that in the description. But at the risk of sitting here going over how
We
fucking
got a lot
cool
of
this
stuff to
thing
go over,
is,
so
yeah, we're just gonna move on from it. Still, ADS, kick-ass system. The Iron Man armor, tactical assault light operator suit, the Talos.
yeah, they
again-
were. I found out about that back in like 06, 07.
Right.
Granted, they didn't have an official name for it yet.
I'm not sure, like, because I looked at it, like, I looked up images of it, and you guys can look up images of it if you like as well. I don't have any links or anything, so if you want to know more about it, you could just Google the Talos armor. But it doesn't really remind me of an Iron Man suit, really,
It's not
in
a
the
true Iron-
slightest.
It's not a true Iron Man suit, or at least the early versions of it weren't.
Right.
It was, however, a powered exoskeleton.
Yes, a powered
Yeah.
exoskeleton with the idea specifically to have the capabilities that a scout monitor has.
In addition to be allowing for heavy lift operations, and the intent was also to get increased mobility. That
Yeah.
didn't work. But they did discover that it does allow for a much higher strength usage.
Mhm.
So you could literally pick up and move heavier objects than you would as a normal person.
See, my assumption for this would be, like,
At least the exoskeleton.
after a
system.
while, it would become like these self-driving cars, where a soldier would, say, need to be getting from one spot in one country and have to get way over here in a specific time period. But if they were to do it in that time period, it would not allow for them to be able to rest or sleep. But you get into
It
one
would
of these
still
suits.
wear out the body because the body's. It would still wear out the body because the body is still doing the motion.
Exactly.
So
But I'm saying the
Mm.
suit, what you could have it do, where not necessarily moving the limbs, but if it were to have some kind of like propulsion device or a I don't know, something like a motorcycle or a small cart that it could dock to.
you mean like Kit from Knight Rider?
Kinda, yeah, sure. But no, like if it were to become like a self-driving car, where you would have this suit and you'd be like, okay, it's programmed into the suit. I need to get here in this amount of time, and then you dock to this rover type thing, and you sit there and you're able to rest while it takes you to where you need to go. Because if you've gone as far as you can and you're about to sputter out, so you dock and you rest up, and the machine is taking you there. Whereas
I mean,
normally you wouldn't be
can't-
able to have a vehicle there, or you wouldn't be able to, run your tank through there or whatever. It might be hostile territory, something like that. You would think that, it's got a pack. You take off the mini rover dock,
No.
attach yourself to it.
It
and
wouldn't
go.
work for combat purposes. It's because that's too
Well, no,
much
not
to
combat.
carry.
Not combat. Just like maybe there's like a recon behind enemy lines, and now you have to extract yourself.
Mm-mm. Nope. Because you got to remember, if you're going that deep into like enemy territory, everything you need, you have to carry.
Yeah.
So power supplies, food, water, ammunition, medical supplies, your camping equipment, and then weapons and ammo, explosives.
And it's not a solo, it's not a solo venture. Like it's a team.
But if
Of course, you're gonna have a team.
But even then, if you've got 5 guys, you need transport equipment for all 5.
Yeah.
It's not viable as a weight thing. Now, allowing them to, because it's higher strength, if they get the higher mobility, they can cover more ground faster. Yes. But as a literal, all right, I'm going to hook up to this powered sled, and then it's going to drive me. That's too much stuff.
Yeah.
At that point, you might as well just
And
have,
again, that's
like, one of those
more
lightweight
science
desert
fiction
vehicles.
technology for the future.
Yeah, they showed it for the 1956 movie Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
Where the robot
More
docks into the
things
machine
to
and then drives
wait
off.
for in the future. Number 18, Jetsons Robot Maid, where we now have the Maru Z.
Yes.
Does she also scream, "I did not murder him"?
I don't
It can be
think
programmed to. It can
Uh,
probably be programmed to because it does have a speaker and does say things.
This little this little thing right here about it says Korean scientists robot Maru Z putters at about the speed of a grandparent riding rollerblades made of snails. But it can bring you toast, do your laundry, and heat food up in the microwave. Child care optional, depending on your parenting style.
Somebody has a sense of humor with that one.
The Jetsons robot vacuum, where we now have the iRobot Roomba. Jetsons food machine, online ordering hubs.
Well, there used to be vending machines that you could actually go to,
Yep.
and they had food in them.
Yes,
So you
there's
could
some
literally put
there's
money
some
in the-
hospitals that actually have pre-warmed food or
Yeah.
chilled food
Well,
in
those
them.
have been around for I think
For a
50
while.
years.
Yeah, for a good
Yeah.
long while. Yeah.
They were real popular around like high work places with high workflow, and where you just need to go get a quick meal. They literally had these things. I remember a picture of one. It was the size of a whole wall.
Hmm?
It was literally a like full meal. You took it out, and then little conveyor belt rolled the next one in.
Yeah.
You just put your money in. It unlocked the door, opened it up, took the thing, closed the door.
The Jetsons sleek TVs in at number 21, which are now flat screen
Flat
TVs
screen.
and have even gone as far as to be even more compact into these neat things that we're looking at each other on in our flat screen monitors.
Laptop screens.
Laptop screens, phone screens even. I mean, come on now. Flat. And it's touchscreen. The Jetsons tanning lamp. Of course, we have
Yeah.
tanning beds. And we even have,
Yep.
like, I don't know exactly what they are or what kind of technology is used in them because I have no interest in them. But they even have now, like, these full body things you can get in and it'll flash you in like 30 seconds. You've gone through an entire tanning session in 30 seconds rather than having to wait, for however long you do in a tanning bed or a tanning room. You can actually like get in this like cylindrical box thing, closes around you, and you got the things over your eyes, and it flashes you in like so many different angles and directions and stuff for so long, and you've gotten in a full tanning session in like 30 seconds.
What'd you say that was called? The flash melanoma machine?
Something like that, yeah. Right? And I'm like,
Skin cancer deluxe generator.
that was my initial thought whenever I had heard something about it. I was like, well, how would they like? How could you do it that fast without burning yourself? You know, and I would assume that
People have done studies, just like on the
yeah,
tanning bed, to figure out what it needs to be for how long. And as long as you have that base formula, you
yeah,
can then calculate more of it and
safe
see. The question
exposure,
is,
what
how fast can we get it?
wavelength? Yeah. Number 23, Jetson's dog treadmill. We actually have dog treadmills now. I mean, if you don't want to buy a dog tread, then you just go get yourself a regular treadmill and teach your dog to walk on it.
Walk on it and have a spot for them next to you.
2001: A Space Odyssey phone booth. We're doing that right now. Video calls.
Yeah.
We are doing video calls right now. I mean, I could do a video call with my wife in the next room on this phone right here.
Star Trek too, remember?
Yep, Star Trek had them.
Long distance video calls.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, me and Redneck are both in Central Time. I'm more on the eastern side of Central Time. He's closer to the western side of Central Time. And then Binks over here is in Navajo Time. Out there in Phoenix.
Got a...
So I was like, we're all over the place, yet it's real-time communications.
Yeah.
Now, we're not at Star Trek distances.
No, we're not.
Apart, but...
Yeah, we're not light years apart, and I don't expect ever
yet.
that we would have faster than light communications.
I think eventually we will, because our knowledge and understanding of science is limited by what we currently know.
Yeah.
Which,
well,
if
I
we
mean, the
look at
reason
what
I think
was
that
for
is
people
because
150 years ago, this would be witchcraft.
I mean, there will still never be instant communication like, say, from Earth to Mars. Like, you can't have it.
By our knowledge and understanding of science, I would agree with you. There's no telling what
Actually,
we'll figure out in the future.
I would posit that that is now incorrect, and I will wait to posit that information until the trivia is done.
But the reason
He's
I
gonna
say
hold
that
the
is
suspense
because
here.
if you think about it, it takes light 8.25, 8.5 or so minutes to travel from the sun to Earth. So if we were able to get to light speed technology, communications, even if somebody were 1 astronomical unit away, it would still take 8.5 minutes for that information to come through. Even if we were to double that speed, it would still take 4.25 minutes for that information to come. And
Depends
considering
on what technology evolves to get to that point.
exactly,
Because, like I said, we don't know what it's going to be at.
Yeah.
Because our understanding now is not the same as what it could be in 200 years.
exactly,
Same as if we look at what it was 200 years in the past. So, what we've got nowadays would be unthinkable and unfathomable to them back then.
Yep.
They would literally probably wouldn't be able to comprehend half.
and then of course general relativity would come into play.
Oh, that's its own
And
ball of wax.
so yeah, we're not gonna go any further on that, but still. This is also the video call thing is also shown in Spaceballs, the video cam, Jetsons video calls as well. Also from 2001: A Space Odyssey, the mission robot, where now we've had for a long time now, NASA's Canadarm. The little robot that can do little whatever's outside of the shuttle without a person actually having to go out there and do it.
That was actually based off of deep sea technology.
Yeah.
It was developed first for deep sea usage, and then they literally just ported it over to space because if it could survive the extreme pressures of deep sea usage, which also have to be air and watertight, they can literally directly port it over with some slight modifications because it has to have a whole different propulsion system. But the rest of it, to my knowledge, is pretty much the same.
And this next one, even though Taco Bell didn't do as well as the movie depicted, in Demolition Man...
I was hoping Demolition Man would
Taco
come
Bell
up.
or Pizza Hut, because it depends on what movie you watched.
No, that depended on where it was released.
Yeah.
It was the same movie. It was just released in different places because some places didn't have Taco Bell, so they didn't know what it was.
When we were on our honeymoon, that movie had come on one night, and I was like, "Hang on, I gotta watch this because it looked silly." And as I was watching it, oh my goodness! And then like everything was Taco Bell, just everything was Taco Bell.
Rat burger.
But in this movie, there's a nifty little thing called Sexy Times. And as you probably well know, Oculus Rift porn is a thing.
There's a couple other things that appear in that movie that tech-wise we also have at this point.
Right.
The self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Cryostasis. Not at the full level it is in the movie.
Yeah.
But that is technology.
Oh, yeah, but that girl did win
small
her
scale,
case, huh?
and are building up. Do what now?
There's a 14-year-old girl who was dying of some disease, and she actually just won a court case so that she can have her body cryogenically frozen, just in case in the future we are able to resuscitate her. And it was a big fat court case, went to Supreme Court and everything.
Intriguing.
Yeah, and she just won.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if the technology is completely there that she would have, like, once she comes out of it, complete return to how she was before she was in it. That I don't know.
Well, unless it instantly freezes everything in the body, including the electrical signals in the brain and in the nerve endings, precisely where it is at that moment in time, and then can be instantly unfrozen in the same way, she will die.
Yeah. Cryogenics is
That's
very
the
complicated,
problem with
very,
it.
very interesting.
Because,
So,
like, yeah.
Don't think tech is currently there yet to completely take advantage of, like, a full cryostasis, but that is something we do have something of and are working towards.
Number 27 on the list is actually a double entry, two different things, but they're both from Back to the Future. The power laces, the self-tying laces on shoes, which actually, if you'll notice, if you even keep up with these kind of things, we actually have those exact same shoes now available from Nike that are self-tying shoes, or self-tightening laces. And then also Back to the Future's hoverboard, which we now have as the hoverboard.
Yeah.
Number 28, Visit to the World's Fair of 2014. They had cordless appliances featured in it, and we now have wireless things. Not the least of which being like these right here.
Wireless headsets.
Wireless microphones. We have so many wireless
Cordless
technologies. Cordless drills. We have. I remember when wireless phones were like,
Yep.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just so many things, so many different wireless technologies now.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of them can kind of be like, you'd be like, it's less impressive because it's battery operated, but still, back in that time, having a battery pack to be able to put up inside of something so that you don't have to plug it in anything still would have been a huge jump,
They were the size of a briefcase.
Yeah. And then also from the Visit to the World's Fair 2014, kitchen gadgets such as an instant coffee maker. We now have things like the Keurig and other similar devices. That's what I made my coffee out of this morning, is a Keurig. Number 30, actually I'll save that one. I'll go to number 31 real quick. The Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory pneumatic tube. We now have vacuum elevators that don't
designs
use...
for those, though, I think came out before the movie did. Because
I'm not
designs
sure.
Well, I think so, because they were being used in banks and mail offices. Since
Right.
Well, there was an engineering project designed, and I think they started to put into effect in, I think it was New York, for a pneumatic subway system. That they were literally going to do, instead of a standard subway, they were going to do just all pneumatic tubes that did the cars going back and forth. That was actually designed, and they were going to do it, but I think then World War II happened and that got scrapped.
All right, and the final one, and then we'll wrap this up and move into Textra. My favorite one on this list, it's gotta be, is the Visit to the World's Fair 2014 Mars exploration. We have the Curiosity rover.
Yep.
Okay, and then well, Curiosity's gone, but we now have what is it, Perseverance, isn't it? Is the new one?
Track of all the names.
But I want to just share with you guys some really cool facts about the Curiosity rover, also called the Mars Science Laboratory, the MSL. The U.S. robotic vehicle designed to explore the surface of Mars was determined that Mars was once capable of supporting life. The rover was launched by an Atlas V rocket, Atlas V rocket, from Cape Canaveral, Florida on November 26, 2011, and landed in Gale Crater on Mars on August 6, 2012. Curiosity is about 3 meters, 10 feet long, and weighs about 900 kilos or 2,000-ish pounds, which makes it the longest, heaviest rover on Mars, as opposed to Spirit and Opportunity. Like previous rovers, Curiosity did not have its landing cushioned by airbags. Rather, because of its large size, it was lowered to the surface by 3 tethers from the spacecraft's body, called the Sky Crane. This thing did absolutely so much work. It did, oh my goodness. And of course, it was the internet's darling as well whenever NASA played a song for it whenever it died. It's just insane. The amount of scientific discovery and work this little rover did on Mars to further our understanding of this planet is insane. Let me see, scroll down this page, see if I can find some of the insane facts. Actually, that was a different page. These 5 facts about NASA's Curiosity rover. 1, I already told you, was Curiosity's other name. 2, Curiosity's power system has far exceeded its operational lifespan. The thing was meant to last for what, 1 Martian year, which was like 687 Earth days, but it ended up lasting for 8 years. 8 years. It was supposed to last 1 Martian year. Ended up lasting 8 Earth years. Freaking insane.
Instead
How
of
long
lasting
that thing?
A little less than 2 years like planned, it lasted 4 times as long.
Exactly. Curiosity snapped a 1.8 billion pixel panorama picture on Mars. Let that sink in, okay? Your phone is a megapixel. Okay, you're gonna get megapixels on your phone. The 1.8 billion, this is nearly a 2 gigapixel. I think that is. The megapixel is millions, right? And then the gigapixel is billion. So yeah, this is nearly a 2 billion or 2 gigapixel image of the Martian surface. You can also hear sounds from the Martian surface recorded by the Curiosity rover if you're ever interested in that, all over YouTube. Number 4, the Mars Science Laboratory mission, the MSL mission, tested an entirely new landing method so that, you don't risk damage to the very, very expensive rover. And number 5, NASA's Mars 2020 Perseverance rover is based off Curiosity's design. Because Curiosity was so resilient and such a testament to its very own design, the Perseverance, the new one, is modeled after it to continue the legacy, one, and to two, hopefully be as robust and resilient as Curiosity. If you want to know more about the Curiosity, Perseverance, Spirit, and Opportunity rovers, you can of course search that yourself. I will link the websites that I've looked at in the description. Holy cow, these things are super awesome, man. There's a couple YouTube channels I've watched of people who actually worked on these things, and just it's super cool the things it can do.
I was wrong on the pneumatic tube train thing.
Okay.
That actually, it not only was proposed and put into use, it was put into service in 1870 and ran for 3 years. And then all the designs and technology of that became the New York pneumatic tube mail system, which ran until 1953. So there was literally a pneumatic subway system. It was only a very short length because they never got approval to do any more, but it did run for 3 years.
There you go.
And it ran under New York. It's fully operational.
New York. Nice.
They found it on, it was sealed away and then found on accident again, rediscovered in 1912. They'd forgotten about it.
All right, guys. That was our Tech Talks for the day. Again, we talked about science fiction technology and items that were once thought to be something of fiction and incapable of achieving, but we now have them. Some of the ones that we focused on being, of course, the Curiosity rover, an insanely resilient rover, something that gave us so much scientific knowledge and input of a planet that is not our own. The AirTouch technology, the ability to have virtual reality or augmented reality technology in front of you without having to have the actual physical device, such as a keyboard or a screen. And then also of course, it just slipped my mind as I'm trying to think about it. The Tricoder from Star Trek, now being the Scanadu Scout, that you can scan yourself with, get vital information that you can then send to your doctor or have on your phone, and know what your vital signs are. These amazing things and more, I'm sure you could find if you went to do a Google search, as I'm sure Redneck and Bynx have done as well. And Bynx even has some trivia for us about other things that we're going to look at here in just a bit in TekTox.
One of which we spoiled for him.
Yeah. So if you're curious about things that were once thought to be only science fiction but are now real, actual life devices, go ahead and do yourself a little quick Google search or stick around for TekTox and we'll find out a little bit more about it. But before we go, today's TekTox tech item of the week is going to be one of my favorite keyboards that I've ever used. Is this Logitech G815 keyboard. I like a keyboard to have, you got, it'll work with the Logitech G-Hub crappy software, but that's another discussion right there. But I like my keyboards to have the 10 key. A lot of people prefer 10 keyless. Some people don't like having the G keys or the macros. I like having the macros. So if you want one without that, you could get the G915. But this one in particular has the gaming button right up here. On the wrong camera. Right up here. You got, you can press this button. It's off right now. You turn on now. And then with predetermined keys selected, you won't be able to accidentally hit a button or fat finger a button and like tab yourself out of the game or bring up the Windows menu by accident or something like that, you can deactivate keys with the gaming mode button turned on. And then of course you have your brightness button, you have different macro sets, and all the different lighting options you have. You've got volume and play and forward and all this kind of controls where I can turn everything way down. I can turn it back up. I can pause the music. I can skip the song. I can mute it and do whatever I need to straight from there. And again, Logitech G Hub, not really all that great, but you can still select your different macros and your lighting effects however you want. I would also suggest, along with this, knowing what kind of key you prefer. These are Logitech proprietary keys, but I like tactile. They also come in linear and straight, or linear and clicky, I should say clicky. But I like the assured click and tactile sound of the tactile keys. And if you guys have nothing else to add to this episode of TekTox, then we will see you guys later.
Yeah, I don't think I've really got anything. Oh,
Oh,
I do have one we missed.
one we missed.
The reforming metal.
Memory metal. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
I will
memory
take
metal.
your glasses and stab them into your temple.
Let's talk about that in Texture Talks. But
Yeah,
we'll
let's
see you
do
guys
that.
later.
Apparently, that's on his list.
Bye,
we're gonna have to hold
guys.
off on
No, it's okay. I've already taken it off of trivia. Please go right ahead.
that. Too late.